Hello everyone, and welcome back to NovaLogos Audio English. In our last chapter, we witnessed the thundering collapse of Jericho's walls under Joshua's leadership. Today we move from the battlefield to the quiet grain fields of Bethlehem. We meet a woman whose strength was not found in a sword, but in her unwavering loyalty. We meet Ruth. Ruth's story begins in a place of deep tragedy. She was a foreigner, a widow, and she was left with nothing but a grieving mother-in-law, Naomi. Have you ever faced a season where it felt like everything you built was taken away? Have you ever had to choose between the safety of your past and a risky, uncertain future based on love? Ruth's journey is a beautiful masterpiece of God's hidden providence. It reminds us that faithfulness in the small, difficult choices of life can weave a tapestry that changes history. Today, we explore how a simple promise led a Moabite woman into the direct lineage of the Savior. Section 1. The Vow of Belonging. When Naomi decided to return to her homeland, she urged Ruth to stay in Moab for a better life, but Ruth clung to her. In the book of Ruth, chapter 1, verse 16, we find one of the most poetic and powerful vows ever spoken. Wherever you go, I will go. Wherever you lodge, I will lodge. Your people shall be my people, and your God, my God. Ruth wasn't just choosing a person, she was choosing a faith. She was leaving behind her culture and her comfort to follow the God of Israel. This wasn't a decision made in a moment of excitement, but in a moment of extreme poverty. Ruth's love was selfless. She put Naomi's survival and her spiritual calling above her own security. Reflection. True faith often requires us to leave our Moab, our place of comfort and old habits, to follow where God leads. Are you willing to say, wherever you go, I will go, even if the destination is a field where you have to glean for leftovers? Remember, the path of sacrifice is often the very road to the blessing. Section 2. The Shadow, the Bitterness of Loss. When Ruth and Naomi arrived in Bethlehem, they were poor and vulnerable. Naomi was so overwhelmed by grief that she asked to be called Mara, which means bitter. From Ruth, chapter 1, verse 21, we hear her pain. I went away full, but the Lord has brought me back empty. This is the shadow of the story, the feeling that God has turned against you. For Ruth, the shadow was the daily struggle of being a foreign, outsider, working in the fields from morning until night just to get enough food to survive. She faced the risk of harassment and the exhaustion of poverty. But Ruth didn't complain about her emptiness. She went to work, trusting that if she did her part, God would do His. Mirroring our lives. We all have times of bitterness, where we feel empty and forgotten by life. We look at what we lost instead of what we have left. But Ruth shows us that the way out of bitterness is through steadfast love and humble work. Don't let your pain stop you from being kind. Often the very person you choose to serve in your time of grief is the person God will use to restore your joy. Section 3. The Light, the Redeemer's Wing. The light broke in the person of Boaz, a wealthy relative who noticed Ruth's character. In the book of Ruth, chapter 2, verse 12, Boaz speaks a blessing over her that would soon become a reality. May the Lord reward what you have done. May you receive a full reward from the Lord, the God of Israel, under whose wings you have come for refuge. Ruth's light was the discovery of a Redeemer. Boaz didn't just give her grain, he gave her protection and eventually a home. The story ends not in a field of leftovers, but with the birth of a son, Obed, who became the grandfather of King David. The foreign widow who started with nothing became an ancestor of Jesus Christ. The light of this story is that God takes notice of invisible faithfulness. He is the ultimate Redeemer who takes our empty lives and fills them with a legacy we never imagined. The light of restoration. God specializes in turning foreigners into family. Ruth's light teaches us that no matter where you start, even if you feel like an outsider, God's grace can bring you under His wings and give you a seat at the royal table. Your loyalty today is planting seeds for a harvest you might not see for generations. Section 4. Bridge to the Present. Choosing Kindness. How can Ruth's quiet strength inspire our modern lives? 1. Commit beyond convenience. Loyalty isn't about how you feel, it's about what you promised. Stay true to your commitments even when it gets hard. 2. Work with integrity. Ruth didn't wait for a miracle. She went to the fields to work. God often meets us in the middle of our daily responsibilities. 3. Look for the refuge. When life is hard, don't just look for a solution. Look for the wings of God. Find your security in His character, not just in your circumstances. Section 5. Language Clinic. Expressing Loyalty and Seeking Refuge. To help you describe deep relationships and trust, let's look at these English patterns. 1. Wherever you, I will. This is a classic structure for expressing total solidarity or shared destiny. Wherever you, action, I will, action. Example. Wherever you lead, I will follow. Spiritual use. It represents a heart that is fully surrendered to a calling or a person, regardless of the difficulty of the journey. 2. Under whose wings you have come for refuge. This is a beautiful, metaphorical way to describe finding safety in God. Take refuge under someone's wings means to seek protection and comfort. Example, in times of trouble, I take refuge in my faith. Spiritual use. It evokes the image of a mother bird protecting her young. It teaches us that God is not just a powerful king, but a nurturing protector. 3. I went away full, but back empty. This pattern is used to describe a dramatic loss or a change in fortune. I, action, full, but action, empty. Example, I started the project full of hope, but I ended it empty-handed. Spiritual use. It's an honest expression of human grief. God allows us to be honest about our emptiness because He is the only one who can truly fill it again. Consolidation and review. Key phrases for your journey. 1. Your God shall be my God. This represents a definitive spiritual conversion and an act of total surrender. It shows that personal relationships can often be the bridge to a deeper relationship with the divine. 2. The Lord has brought me back empty. This phrase articulates the profound pain of loss and the feeling of divine abandonment. It validates our right to be honest with our emotions during seasons of grief. 3. Under whose wings you have come for refuge. This is an invitation to experience the tender, protective nature of the Creator. It shifts our perspective from seeing a distant power to a close, nurturing shelter. 4. The Lord reward what you have done. This serves as an assurance that no act of kindness or loyalty goes unnoticed. It encourages us to persevere in doing good, even when there is no immediate visible benefit. 5. A full reward from the Lord. This points to the overflow of grace that exceeds our human efforts. It reminds us that what we lose in sacrifice is nothing compared to what we gain in divine inheritance. 6. Steadfast love. This is the English translation of the Hebrew word, hesed. It describes a covenantal, sacrificial love that remains faithful regardless of the circumstances or the cost. Closing, the harvest of grace. Thank you for joining us for Chapter 9. Ruth reminds us that you don't need to be a giant or a king to change the world. You just need to be faithful in the field where God has placed you. Even when you feel empty, remember that the harvest is coming, and your Redeemer is closer than you think. In Chapter 10, we will meet Samuel, the boy who learned to hear the voice of God in the middle of the night. We will see how a life of listening can guide a nation and prepare the way for kings. If the story of Ruth and her steadfast love has been a blessing to you, please like this video and subscribe to NovaLogos Audio English. Your support helps us share these stories of hidden providence with the world. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single portrait. Until we meet again, stay under the wings of refuge. Goodbye.